Hello, Hamilton Elite. Today we're here with Coach Loiodice from Rowan University men's soccer. He is also the recruiting coordinator for the school. Coach, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself, your school, and your program?
Yeah, no problem. My name is John Loiodice. I'm the recruiting coordinator at Rowan University for the men's side, men's soccer team. Rowan is based out of Glassboro, New Jersey. It's about 20 minutes from Philly and about a half hour from Atlantic City, so you're in a really good spot there. The men's soccer team, we are top 25 in the country right now. We went to the Sweet 16 last year. We had an incredible year. Our school is D3, so it's Division 3, and we compete in the New Jersey Athletic Conference. So it's a pretty competitive conference with some really good schools from Jersey in there. So
Um, what is I know Coach Scott Baker is the head coach. Could you tell us a little bit about his and his staff's coaching style?
yeah, so our coaching style is definitely an attack minded team, and we try to use possession to break down opponents. We feel like that's the best way to be successful. Just a couple of years ago, our team was ranked number one in Division One, Two, or Three in goals for. So we definitely play a fast paced game with a lot of goals, and it's an attractive style.
What do you think? What do you believe separates Rowan University academically from some of the other D3 or even D2 schools in our area?
Yeah. So academically, I think our vast majority of degrees that you can choose at Rowan. If it's medical research, if it's engineering, which is one of the best in the country, if it's education, psychology, business, we just put in a brand new business building, around almost $60 million. So the vast majority of degrees that you could choose from is endless, and I think that really separates us from other Division three schools. Division threes are normally smaller. There's a few majors that you can choose from, but for us, we almost say that we're a Division three school and a Division one body, and that's really what separates us from the others.
All right. Um, so this year is obviously a different animal recruiting, and as a recruiting coordinator, um, how are you approaching this spring and possibly the summer when you're looking towards recruiting the class of 2021 and 2022?
Yeah, so for 2021, we're just buying our time right now. We're focused on it. I wouldn't say it's our main focus, just because we just finished up 2020, and we're really focused on getting our guys in and focusing on the off season and then the season. 2021, we're taking, obviously we can't go to any tournaments right now, so highlight films have been a really big tool that we've been using. Players have been sending that over to us, and kind of all of the players that we've identified. In the fall and last summer and spring for 2021 or 2022, we've kind of stayed in touch with and kept in contact, and are just kind of weathering the storm right now. We're in a really unique situation because we don't have to bring in that many players. We've set ourselves up to where we can bring in just a few players each year. So if it's 4 or 5 or 6 players for 2021 or 2022, that's all we really need to do. We're very particular on who we bring in, and that allows us to kind of have a more organized approach to recruiting.
There's there's been talk about college for the the fall of 2020 either being put on hold, and there's even some colleges such as, like, I think I read about Boston University not starting until January of 2021. This is having an effect. Obviously, um, the eligibility for springs, softball, baseball, they get an extra year of eligibility, and that's going to affect recruiting freshmen. And are most of those kids, if that happens in soccer, let's say the soccer season is kind of put on hold, if you will, and the eligibility, how's that going to affect the incoming freshmen if seniors are going to have that extra year of eligibility? Now there'll be a little bit of a logjam. How's that going to kind of affect recruiting?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I think that's something that we're just gonna kind of take in stride, and we're all learning as we go here. We don't really know the answer, and we pray and knock on wood that that doesn't happen, but that could have a huge effect. Now, if you put yourselves in a senior shoes, and let's just say a senior can't play their fall season, Well, it's really difficult to tell a senior, hey, stick around an extra year. You're going to have another year of eligibility. You know what I mean? It's easier to say than actually do. There's cost, there's money. They may be finishing their degree. It's not that simple. So I think as a freshman, you'll still have your year of eligibility. You're not going to lose that, but it's also not going to set you back the way that many people think it's going to. I don't think you're going to see a lot of seniors stay around as much as they want to. I don't think you're going to see that just due to financial reasons.
I'm not quite familiar with D3, but is there redshirting in D3?
Yeah, there is.
Okay. All right, so that's an option for those freshmen as well. If they do choose a school that has a lot of seniors that are, they could be in 5-year programs that they could stick around too. So they could redshirt.
Yeah, they could redshirt. I think it's just going to be the communication with the coaching staff that they're going to have. And then obviously playing it by ear of what the NCAA ultimately decides to do with the fall season. So I think, like you said, it could throw a wrinkle into things. It could be tough, but at the end of the day, I don't think it will be that big of an issue for players. Especially for a school like Rowan University, where we're only taking on a few kids. It's not going to be that drastic. It's not like we're having 18 seniors graduate. I think next year we might only have 2. So it wouldn't be as tricky to bring in players. So, and we have a flexible roster. We're looking to carry anywhere between 24 to 28 players. So.
Okay. What do you, when you're recruiting a player, what do you look for in that player, and what are some things that might turn you off about that player?
Yeah. So what we look for, the first one, it has to be the soccer part. You have to be technically, tactically, physically efficient in that area. The soccer part is going to be one of the huge components. I think the second part is what kind of person are you? What kind of character do you have? Are you going to come into our program and help our culture? Are you going to help create the culture? Are you going to thrive in that culture? Or are you going to be kind of a clubhouse cancer, we like to call it? Or are you going to thrive in the locker room? That's what we want to know. And when we do the digging, we do the background searches, we ask club coaches, we ask high school coaches. So that's another big component. And then lastly is what they're like academically. We're investing a lot in our players. We expect them to be with us for 4 years. So when a player comes in and they may have the soccer part, if they don't have the academic part and they fail out or they drop out or they transfer due to grades, it really sets us back. And that's something that we have to really dig into. So I would say those 3 parts are the biggest. One thing that turns me off as a coach is the communication piece. When we're texting a recruiter, emailing a recruiter, talking on the phone to a recruit, the communication piece has to be there. And what we see sometimes, and not all the time, but what we see is recruits be a little bit more standoffish. Maybe they don't call you back, or maybe they don't text you back, and that's okay. But what I try to tell recruits is treat every school the same. I don't care if it's Duke or Rowan or if it's Camden County College. Treat every school the same, because you never know who you're going to end up meeting in the long run and whoever you're going to need in the long run, really. And you need to form that relationship, and that's a big thing. I text recruits now, and some are great. We have we have good conversations. They put together sentences, and then I have some recruits who give me one-word answer back and don't return calls for weeks on end, and then want to come back and reach back out to you, and you're like, well, it's too late. You were almost standoffish, and we've kind of moved on. So that's a really big piece that I think a lot of high school players need to realize.
All right. Just one final question. When it comes down to a recruit that commits to your school, what is the process from the time that both parties agree to that commitment? What happens after that?
Yeah, so when a player commits to Rowan University, to our program, they're integrated right into our family system here. So they're constantly contacted by the coaching staff. They're put on a detailed plan of what we're looking for them for the rest of if it's in the fall or the winter or the spring or the summer, what our expectations are for them. But I think the interesting part is that we're in constant communication with them almost every other day. So they ultimately feel like they're a part of the program right away. You know, they don't just commit and then we're like, oh no, we'll see you in August. That's not the case. We constantly talk to them and are constantly preparing them, not only the soccer part, but the mental part as well, and for what to expect for when they come in August.
All right, Coach, good stuff. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Of course, my pleasure.